Guys, Fuller coming to you with another video. Shout outs to the whole LDBC. Make sure you, if you want to, like and subscribe to this page, and you'll be given updates on my content, which varies from boxing, which varies from different types of sports, such as soccer, such as track and field, and also social issues as well. Social issues across the board. Now, last night, Teofimo López fought a ready Nakatani, and the thing that I took away from this fight with him is that, you do have to be confident as a fighter. You do have to have a sense of, a sense of bravado, but your bravado has to be backed up with actions, and it has to be backed up by a performance that allows people to say, yeah, he has every right to have that bravado. Last night, Teofimo's performance was not that. I'm sorry to say. And so, what I'm gonna say is that at first, when he first came onto the scene, I was kind of digging Teofimo López. I was kind of thinking okay, this guy may be the goods, this guy may be like it. But then the more I heard him talk, and the more I just saw the things he did in the ring and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, it's only a matter of time before someone has his card, and someone had his card last night. The thing is I noticed a couple of things in this fight. Nakatani was making him eat jabs all night. That dude Teofimo was eating a lot of jabs. And, another thing I noticed Nakatani was doing is he was doing these little check hooks to the body, and Teofimo didn't seem to adjust to that, and one other thing that I noticed about Teofimo that I was like, okay, when is this guy gonna wake up and smell the coffee that this is not working for him, is he Philly shelled up. But the object of the Philly shell is you're supposed to roll punches. You're supposed to roll and parry punches when you use a Philly shell. Teofimo was not doing that. He was still getting hit. Even when, he was still getting, tagged. The shoulder roll was not even in effect, and that's what I said. That's what I think about it. Another thing, that I noticed about Teofimo, he's flat-footed. He is very, very flat-footed. In fact, there were times in the fight where I'm thinking to myself, man, this guy is glued to the ring. And that's another thing that I noticed. He basically can't fight on the back foot. You know, that's one thing he can't do. He can't fight on the back foot. You know, he was getting backed up a lot. And you know, the Nakatani guy, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, you know, he's on the back foot. Like, he's backing him up. But the Nakatani, he was there to get hit. You know, because his chin was out. So when Nakatani was driving in, I'm thinking to myself, okay, is he gonna hit him? You know, is he gonna catch him with like a step back hook or uppercut? And that never happened. Another thing I noticed about Teofimo in that fight, he didn't hold a jab, you know. He didn't really establish a jab at the beginning. You know, that's one thing I noticed is that the jab wasn't even a factor. You know, now granted, that guy, the Nakatani guy, was longer and whatnot, but you have to basically establish that jab. You know, if you don't establish that jab, then everything else falls by the wayside, you know? And that's one thing. If the Philly shell ain't working, then it's your job to make adjustments. It's your job to maybe apply like half a Philly shell with a high guard. Like keep your like basically keep your hand to your chin, but also keep your the other hand down in that maybe Philly shell position, and just have it like half and half. Find the balance, you know. He didn't do that, you know. Or if you know the guy is long and stuff like that, then use that high guard. Use that high guard, and then, you know, maybe when he tries to go to the body, you catch him. You know, but it's easy for me to say these things like from the outside looking on in, you know, because, you know, boxing is a very difficult sport, and this comes from someone who does the sport. You know, it's a very difficult sport. I'm telling you, very, very difficult. You know, but there's still things you have to do to adjust and stuff like that. Now, I guess from here, Teofimo, if I were him, I would take another tune-up or something, you know, before, you know, because, you know, he said he wanted to be fast-tracked and stuff like that. He said he wanted to be put up in the rankings and things like that. I would take another tune-up. I would take a soft touch, or I would take an opponent that is as difficult as the Japanese guy he faced, you know. Styles make fights. As far as Richard Comey is concerned, I think Richard Comey is taller than Teofimo López. I think he has longer reach than Teofimo López. Now, if anything, Richard Comey, he would have to box, basically. That's the thing. He would definitely have to, he would have to box. He couldn't do what he did, like in his last fight, you know. He shouldn't try to do that, you know. It wouldn't be a good look for him to try to like slug it out with Teofimo, because he may get caught with something, you know. So that's the way I look at it, you know. I think that he, to be honest, after seeing that performance from Teofimo, I think Richard Comey can get him, you know. Another thing I noticed about Teofimo is that, you know, he didn't look like his weight. I'm not gonna lie, like, he's kind of tubby. You know, I'm just looking at it, and I think that's because he's short. But you know, I mean, he kind of does look kind of like tubby at that at this weight class, you know. Now, athleticism, I'm gonna have to give it to Richard Comey, you know, because he's just like built better. But what I'm just worried about is that he'll try to slug it out with him, you know. But I still would favor, after what I watched last night, and hopefully Richard Comey will study it, that he would beat Teofimo, you know. So one thing I also want to say about this issue is the simple fact that Teofimo's father, and I get it. It's like a father-son, like, it's a father-son team. You know what I mean? That's like, it was like Floyd Sr. with Floyd Jr. It's like Showtime Sean Porter with Kenneth Porter. I get the father-son narrative, but I think his father gasses him up way too much. And I think due to the gas of his father, you know, he has this way about him, you know, and he's talking about how he would whoop. Like, the thing is that he has so much energy, you know. I made a video about this in the past where, you know, he was G-checked by Devin Haney, you know, for his father saying things that he was crying, you know, and sparring and things like that. And as a matter of fact, his father backpedaled and said, oh, you know, we were just saying that we were just trying to give him a fight and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, that's not the way you try to get a fight for him. You don't do things like that, you know. And then another thing that he said is, you know, his father kept on using the N-word, you know, and that's why I was just like, okay, why do you keep on using the N-word, you know, like, is there a need for that? Like, you know, like, yeah, why do you keep on having that word come out your mouth, you know? And so, this is why I'm curious about, like, well, you know, it is what it is with them. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's the goods now. You know, and what I say is that, you know, let this be a lesson to him. You know, don't buy into your own hype so much, you know. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't think that, you know, your shit don't stink, you know, before you talk about how you can beat Devin Haney's ass, how you can beat Tank's ass, and you couldn't even get past, you barely got past a ready-made Nakatani, you know. But I mean, he was bound to have he was bound to have problems with you know, bound to have problems with this dude because he's long. He kept him at the end of a jab, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, you know, I believe that a long fighter beat him in the Olympics. You know, I forgot his name, but he was a French dude. You know, yeah, I think I'm trying to remember his name. You know, I think he got beat by Sofiane Umehia. Yeah, he got beat by him. And so Sufyan, he's a long fighter. You know, he's very, very long, and he just had him at the end of jabs again, and in straights. I will say another thing too. Those scorecards were atrocious. Those scorecards were atrocious. I'm like, dude, come on. Are you serious? Like, they had those scorecards way wide in that fight, and I had that fight a tie. You know, but anyhow, you know, that's all I got, man. Leave your thoughts and leave your comments. Let me know where you think he goes from here. All right, Full is signing out. Inshallah.